I'm glad we talked about spirituality, because when something comes from your spirit, it does not come from one place. See, the spirit is universal. The same spirit that causes you to breathe is in the trees. Mm-hmm. Let me show you how flavorful God was before he created you to get the world ready for you. Check this out. Mm-hmm. What do we need to breathe? Air. So God made trees, and the trees give you air above your waist. It goes from your head, above your head, to your waistline. God also made grass, so that carpet gives you air as well. Mm. So the grass gives you air from your feet to your waist.
Right.
Then for some reason, we like colors. So he made us flowers. And if you plant flowers in your home, not only they give you color, they give you air. The Spirit of God, which is called inspiration, is the breath of God, which is what? The air. Also, they say Satan is the prince of the air. So what you speak can be used against you. So the power of breath has been the leading life-giving and life-taking gift that people sleep on. Because what you say matters. It's written that when God speaks, his voice, his words are like the rain. The rain falls and that's it. It does nothing else. It serves its purpose. Your talents and your gift are the same way. I ask you this. What is the most incredible song you've ever sung, and those lyrics stay with you as you live your life?
The most incredible song I ever sang was the first song I ever learned, "The Greatest of All" by Whitney Houston. The way she performed it. I used to sing that song for every audition, that's how I got into Morgan State, was singing that song. And it was, I don't know, those lyrics stick with me. Like, I remember being a kid from Newark, New Jersey, and to hear that another singer had come from the same city, that was a big deal for us. And it was so inspiring. And the greatest of all, it's just like, I learned now as an adult what that really means. But as a kid, you're just like so empowered. But I really found that the greatest love of all is within yourself. Like, it really is. And I've learned that through life. You know what I'm saying? But I can really sit here and say, like, yo, the greatest love of all, it happens to you. Just like the song said, You know
what's deep though? When you really love yourself, and love comes in spurts. Nobody truly understands the full capacity of love. You get it over time.
Right.
And one gift that people get when they love themselves is they find out that they are capable. You learn that you are capable to speak. You are capable to make sense. You are capable to make sound. You are capable to sing. But you also are capable to create with your hands. Tell me about your writing and things that you've created.
The hands. My writing. Well, many people don't know I'm also not only a audio and visual artist. I'm also a lyricist or a literary. I love to put together stories and develop characters and put things in the right perspective. Ruckus gave me that. That's hands down Ruckus talk now.
Let's stop plugging Ruckus right now, okay?
I mean, that's just what it is. They gave me that. I had it naturally and organically, but to structure and use different techniques and the mechanics of storytelling and filmmaking, that's something that I take seriously. I worked on a few different independent movies. I worked on King of Newark. I created the Jersey series. I also created the movie The Fearless one. I created all of that. When I did the King of Newark was actually supposed to be part 2 to another movie that I wrote called Living with No Regrets, which was a concept that I restructured from a book that someone had written. So they wrote the book and then I readapted it to film. And then with King of Newark, it was a whole brand new concept that I just literally created off the top of my head. And I just plugged those same characters in. And did the same thing with a movie called The Fearless one. Right now, I've created what I think is really a defining story, the legacy of Jet Black. I did that a year and a half ago, and I'm getting ready to do the next chapter of that. So that's like my baby.
Alonzo Haran did the movies.
Yes, right? He was the producer.
Yeah, those movies are on TiVo, right? Not TiVo. What is it on?
Tubi TV.
Tubi, that's right. Tubi TV.
Yeah.
And
that guy.
A lot of the people that have been, that's in it, I've crossed paths with. Like him, I know his son played ball in school.
Exactly.
And Poppy Stores.
Poppy Stores.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He says, that's my girl, Yaya. He says that all the time. I know her, Yaya.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He always gives you a shout out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the web series and the film, kind of how it goes cyclical, the interview, right? So the web series and the film is what's becoming the defining note in documentation of hip hop culture today. Tell me about the Jet Black one, and what did you want to capture, and what was the meaning of the project besides just doing a project?
Yeah, so this one was a deep labor of love. This one, Jet Black is, I'm put it to you like this, but everything I ever worked on and created before Jet Black was like a preliminary for Jet Black. Jet Black is basically the representation, the human form of melanin, hyperactivated melanin. That's what Jet Black represents. And Jet Black uses the power and the spiritual connection, the metaphysics of melanin to liberate the people from oppression. And oppression can take many different forms, but Jet Black is a symbol. So it's kind of like each and every one of us has Jet Black within us, type of thing. And what you see in the film is just the physical embodiment of that energy, of that melanated black energy.
I would love to see you make that a comic book.
You know, people have approached me about that, and I'm like, yo, you know what?
Yeah, really.
I think it'll be dope. Like,
that energy has been in the world for the past 2-3 years.
Yeah.
You ever heard of this comic book Black?
No.
Well, Black is like, imagine, sound like what you said. Imagine a world where Caucasians knew that people of color had the God gene in them. So the reason why slavery and things like that happened is because they wanted to activate the God gene to steal it. So many lynchings happened because they wanted to see, because death, or near-death experiences activate the God gene. So they were killing people to take them and harvest them. And you had a group of sellouts that worked for the government, and you had a group of underground rebels who represented the people. And there's one young man who's like the messiah, who has every power of everyone he ever connects with, and he's the leader of the new school. So where's the new school gonna go? Are they gonna blend, or are they gonna stand out? And that's the concept. Jet Black was dope to me for the simple fact that when you talk about, and I get it now, how the melanin had a power. Everything that you do in life is controlled by melanin. I mean, then they give you melatonin, they put you to sleep, and that's a form of melanin, so sleep is a melanin, which is bugged out.
I've had the pleasure of connecting years ago. I would say, like I said, I've always been conscious. I've always been awake from a young age, from about, I would say, 8 years old. That was the defining point in my life.
What happened at 8 years old?
I remember I was in a drama class, and my drama teacher at the time, she asked me, "What are you?" And I said, "I don't know." You know, like, what do you mean, what am I? I'm 8 years old, I don't know. And she said, "No, what are you?" And I said, "I'm Latino," or something like, no, I come from the islands, because I am, you know. And she's like, "No, you're black. When you got there, you were black, and when you live here, you're black." And when she said it to me with that authority, it was just like it slapped me awake at 8 years old. And she would bring out all of these poems and stories on black living, and I mean, this is the 80s, so she was going back to the 60s and the 50s. And so she taught me about Malcolm X, not just the name, but she gave me cultural context. All of us in that acting class, all of those beautiful black faces that were in there. She used art to transform our cultural perspective. And she did that when I was 8. So I came in the world like having a solid understanding of the black experience, especially here in America. And so when I came to write Jet Black, it was a natural thing. And I've had the beautiful experience to say, to connect with the people down at the Source of Knowledge, downtown Newark, years ago. This is when the Trayvon Martin verdict came out. And I remember laying on my couch, like, people talking about, we want justice for Trey, whatever the slogan was at the time. Now you gotta remember, at this time, I've been a narrative filmmaker, I've been a studied documentarian, I'm a studied news, like, you know, I could be a news, anything related to capturing things on film. And so I remember saying, can I cuss?
Of course.
Oh, I remember saying, what the fuck is these motherfuckers talking about? And people were looking at me like, what, do you want justice for Trey? You know, and I'm like, how can you arrive at justice from a people that don't know what justice is? Who are you asking?
Stop right there. That's why I love talking to you back in the day. And I miss that conversation. So I'm going to ask you a question. What should people of color be fighting for? Freedom or liberty?
They should be fighting for information.
Okay.
You can't get free without knowledge.
So my issue is people are begging for liberty and discounting their freedom. See, freedom means you have no master. Liberty means you do things with permission. And it seems like people are looking for more permission than looking for freedom.
Yeah, you can't have, but that's what I'm saying. Even if you're looking for permission, you will never have it. They're never going to give it to you. You could just forget that. Like, why would the oppressor release the oppressed if he is capitalizing off your oppression?
Because more people want to be oppressed than be free.
Because they don't have the proper education.
So let me ask you this, because I'm a Christian by trade. I love Christianity. Shout out to Christ. Shout out to the people who live that life. But not contemporary Christianity, because I don't believe in that bullshit. For people who say they believe in the Bible, my man should tell you, I go into it. The Bible says, do not put your oppressor ahead of you in politics because they will never listen to you. Yet we're voting for the same thing over and over. And I'm not about anarchy, and I'm not about taking things over. I'm just saying, let's just use common sense. I want to go back to, not to diminish that point, go back to your creative talent with writing. The web series is giving our people the ability to tell their stories. Shout out to Andre Keys, and shout out to my man SL, Sean Lane. Shout out to my man who made Money and Violence, like Respect Life and all that. Great, because now they're telling the stories of the hood. But I want more stories than the drug game.
Yeah.
And when I saw L.I.P.S web series, The Love Inside Prevails, that was the first web series I ever seen from a woman's standpoint. And the story was about a woman who had to deal with her father getting killed, her mother going from man to man and having a boyfriend, the boyfriend raping her, and how her mom chose the boyfriend over her, and how she dealt with that in her life and in her relationships with boys. That opened up a story that I don't think any man knows. He's ignorant to every man is ignorant to the view, the lifestyle, and the point of view of a woman. Being able to pen your own stories, to pick up your own camera and to tell your own vision of life. Where do you want that to unlock the minds of other women who are creatively stagnated or don't know they can be creative like you?
It's not easy being a female storyteller. I would be a liar if I sat here and said, oh yeah, it's easy, ain't nothing, I just do this, I do that. There's so many blockades, especially when you're black and especially when you're female and you identify yourself as a black female filmmaker. I don't deny that. I don't diminish that. That is, right there with my name, black female filmmaker. That goes hand in hand. I don't put that in any other place other than where it needs to be. But I can say, as a filmmaker, storyteller, I'm a tomboy by nature. I had nothing. I grew up with nothing but older brothers. All my male cousins. Me and my dad was my best friend. Like, I was just a guy's type of girl, in the sense that I could hang out and kick back with the dudes more comfortable than I could always with the female. But as I got older and as I've become, a full cycle female woman, I can say that you have to be, first of all, you have to have a point, and you have to be fearless and courageous to make your point. And you have to be unapologetic about it. Like when I created Jet Black, I created it unapologetically. Unapologizing. I'm not apologizing for calling the black man the greatest man of all time. That's what it is to me, you see? And I have the power to write that story because I have those gifts. And nothing can stop me. There's not a network on planet Earth that can give me the green light on something I already go on.
Except for yours.
Right, like, it ain't nothing. And that kind of confidence only comes from having knowledge of self, having information. If I didn't have information, which is what I believe we should be fighting for, there's too many of us that have no information on self. You can't go back more than one generation, 2 generations. You can't place yourself properly on the world's map. You really think that you came from slavery, really? No human on earth could ever come from that. No one is born from that. People are being committed to death on that. That is a complete destruction. We don't even have the information. All we have access to right now are a few slave narratives to really put us in perspective. We don't have access to what's in the Library of Congress.
Or the Vatican.
Or the Vatican. We don't have access to that kind of information. So when I say we should be fighting for our information, that's what I'm talking about. More letters, more force, more push needs to go to, hey, can I see the list of slaves that got off this boat? Can I just see it for real? Not no fake copy that somebody, can I see the original documents? They have those original documents.
Yeah, Dan Calloway and the I'm Just Here to Make You Think movement pushes for that all the time.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, is that that's what we need. That's what we need. Information. What do you think empowers the most empowered? Information.
Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
They have information. Now, however misconstrued that information is, the point is they've got it. And they can do with it what they want to. So if they want to take a random black man and pump him full of lead and say that he was the aggressor, he was the threat, they got information to do that. They can legitimize, propagandize entire agendas that do nothing but commit atrocities and genocide on entire nationalities, entire nations of people. Why? Because they believe in the power of the written information.